7 years before it became the 29th state in the country, Iowa City would be established as the capital of Iowa, and a year later, the University of Iowa would be founded here. Just 11 years later, in 1847, Des Moines would take over as the state capital, with the former capital now becoming a museum run by the university. As the fifth most populous city in the state, Iowa City's downtown is a thriving commercial hub, located just across the river from the main university campus. But just 1 block south of the Capitol grounds sits the old Capitol Town Center, a former enclosed mall that has been purchased by the expanding university. While the upper floor has been turned into education and conference rooms, the ground level is still used as a shopping center, offering students and residents a close place to eat, study, and shop in what was once a thriving mall.
If you know Ruin Road, you know we value our privacy. In our personal life, it's not always easy to maintain. Whether we know it or not, sites will mine our data like full name, email, health records, and more, which they will sell to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to snoop. That's why we started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on our behalf. This not only reduces the amount of spam you'll get, but protects against hackers who can use this information to gain access to our social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also provides a ton of other features bundled into one easy-to-use app at an affordable price. You get antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without needing to bother with different apps. We all have one or more of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know how often that happens. Like 24-hour security, motion sensors, and guard dogs, Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my info safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. Relaxing. Ruin Road values our privacy, and we also value yours. Go to aura.com/ruinroad to start a free 2-week trial, also linked below in the description.
Beginning in the 1950s, Iowa City would see a rapid population boom through the next 3 decades, and the downtown would begin a series of urban renewal projects in the 1970s, one of which was the construction of a 375,000 square foot shopping center, in place of 2 blocks of downtown stores, which was announced in 1978. Initially planned as a $6 million development to be opened in 1980, it would end up costing $18 million and open in 1981 as the old Capitol Center. The 3 anchors of Yonkers, JCPenney, and Osco Drug would open by December 1980, but union disputes would delay the concourse from its planned November 28th opening until the first week of January 1981. The grand opening would not be held until that March 11th. But 1 month before that, a water pipe would burst in a utility room that almost caused an explosion. The 5-day opening celebrations would not be delayed though, which featured local music groups, Nashville recording artist Roy Lee Jarrett, a puppet show, and a series of one-act operas performed by UI School of Music, along with daily prize drawings, culminating with one lucky shopper winning a $1,000 shopping spree. While the mall owners were still in the process of paying off a series of construction company lawsuits over unpaid work, the tenants found business booming, with 3 stores expanding into the remaining 15% unleased space. That holiday season, Santa would arrive by sliding down a fire truck ladder along the parking garage and going on a parade before taking a seat inside the mall. In 1983, a section of the north end would be converted into the center court to feature small spaces for 9 new tenants. Throughout the 1980s, Old Capitol Center would remain a popular community hub, regularly bringing in local live music, sponsoring educational classes, and holding contests. Each Easter, kids were invited to bring their own eggs for a decorating contest inside the mall, followed by an Easter egg hunt on the Old Capitol Pentecrest grounds. For their 6th anniversary, a spring fashion show, children's events, and another $1,000 shopping spree was held. In 1990, America's Funniest People would hold auditions at the mall, with local Roger Howe being the standout with his voice impressions of 100 different celebrities or personas. To mark their 10th year anniversary, visitors were given cake slices that had various prizes such as gift cards, lottery tickets, and prize tokens inside. Students performed music. Another $1,000 shopping spree was given, a magic show was held, and Babaloon the Clown were all on hand for the 4-day celebration. Shortly after, renovations began at the mall that would be completed in September 1992 and would see 6 new stores added while others relocated or remodeled. In May the following year, after their anniversary celebration yet again included prizes hidden inside the cake, along with a grand prize of a free cruise, the mall would announce a $2 million renovation that would see new staircases, a new elevator, expansion to the food court, and removing its sunken floor to better accommodate community events. Banners of stores on the 2nd floor would also be hung over the walls, due to the long-running complaints that since it opened, the upper floor merchants never got the same amount of traffic as the 1st floor. When renovations were complete, the center rebranded itself to Old Capitol Mall, as well as going smoke-free a few months later. But trouble was on the horizon. Plans for a new mall outside of town would move forward in 1994. But in the meantime, Old Capitol Mall was still successful, drawing in new stores such as Victoria's Secret, who opened their 3rd store in the entire state inside here. In 1996, the Arby's restaurant in the mall would hold a fundraiser for 2 of its employees. That January, after leaving work, the pair rode home through the negative 20-degree temperature in a car with no exhaust tailpipe. When the kids stayed inside the car to chat before going in, they would both pass out from the fumes that had been leaking into the car. When they were found and brought to the hospital, the carbon monoxide levels in their bodies were some of the highest ever recorded at University Hospital. That spring, an exhibition of 50 dinosaur skeletons on tour from Moscow would be exhibited inside the mall, followed a few months later by a science exhibit with 26 interactive stations throughout the mall, such as this 20-foot globe. Over that holiday season, one shopper heard her name called over the loudspeakers, asking her to meet her boyfriend near the escalator. When she arrived, her boyfriend would bring her over to sit on Santa's chair where he proposed to her, having previously said that when he proposed, he wanted to embarrass her somehow. Black Friday 1997 would see almost 25,000 shoppers flood the mall. And the following week, plans to renovate the exterior of the mall were approved, which would see exterior entrances added to many of the storefronts. But the following year, when Coral Ridge Mall would finally open in nearby Coralville, Old Capitol Mall was immediately hit hard, losing JCPenney and occupancy rates dropping to around 80% in the concourse, as many moved over to what was then Iowa's largest mall. By June, Old Capitol Mall was put up for sale and would finally be sold in March 1999. The new owners, Pittsburgh-based Madison Realty, announced that they plan to turn it into more of a town center, trying unsuccessfully to secure the new public library moving into the vacant Penny's anchor, while the concourse vacancy had now grown to nearly 40%. They would change the name to Old Capitol Town Center, but just 2 years later, in 2001, would declare bankruptcy. One of the only new tenants over that time was Planet X Fun Center, which would move into the 2nd floor of the JCPenney anchor, aided by the university, who wanted to offer its students an alternative to the bars. Students, however, preferred alcohol, and just 2 years later, Planet X closed. When the mall's foreclosure was finalized in 2003, a local investment group would purchase Old Capitol at auction for almost $12 million. Almost $2 million over its valuation, which itself had plummeted from the $22 million back in 1998. The group had previously purchased the former Sycamore Mall, also in Iowa City, rebranding that to Iowa City Marketplace, though today that mall has also had its interior largely closed off and operates mostly as a strip plaza. Old Capitol was just 34% occupied at that time, and would be hit yet again in 2004, when Yonkers would also close, leaving it anchorless. The new owners would set about making the change to business over retail, bringing in the Gazette newspaper offices, and it was able to attract the university to move their international programs into the Yonkers anchor. They would also extend the concourse into the former first floor of Penny's, turning it into smaller retail or office spaces. They would also bring back community events, with ice sculptors and art shows. In 2006, UI would sign an $8.4 million deal to purchase most of the second floor and basement of the mall, now taking up 62% of leasable space, and they prepared a $10 million renovation for more office space and classrooms. By the following year, Old Capitol Town Center had successfully turned itself around, and when the river flooded in 2008, UI would relocate even more operations into the mall. In 2014, a group of the elderly would hold an interesting protest inside the mall grounds.
A group of Eastern Iowans is also pushing for renewable power in the state. 100 grannies for a livable future held a first ever snit-in at the Old Capitol Mall in Iowa City. Members knitted, read, and chatted in front of signs against the use of fossil fuels. They say they're trying to raise awareness of environmental concerns.
Ignoring a problem does not solve the problem. And if you don't know there's a problem, then you're not going to do anything to help solve it.
Today's event was the first of a series of snit-ins the group will hold in Iowa City on the last Friday of each month.
Since then, Old Capitol Town Center has operated as a dual space, holding events for students as well as the general public, while increasingly the ground floor is becoming restaurant space over retail. Finally, in October 2024, the university would make a $20.6 million offer to purchase the remainder of the mall. They would announce that the ground floor would still remain leased retail space to offset operational costs, but stated future plans could be to further develop the space to serve students and employees, expecting to close on the deal in 2027. With history of ups and downs, Old Town Center has managed to evolve with community needs. While it stays as a regular mall behind it, unless plans change, what was once calling itself the heart of Iowa City will remain a destination for both college students and the general public for many years to come.